Hello and welcome to the 5th episode in my series all about solo travelling. What a budget! There are 4 other episodes in this series which are already published on my channel. These cover transport, accommodation, money and many more subjects, and a link to those will come up at the end of this video. If you need advice on solo travelling or money saving tips, or on how to make your travel budget stretch further, then take a look, as the content of the videos will help you travel better. In this video, I'll look at the planning that is required for the various length trips that I undertake and the measures I take to plan ahead for my trips abroad. Hopefully by the end of this video, you will be able to follow my advice, which will help you travel better and at the same time save you time, effort and money. Before you can begin to plan your travels, you need to decide just where you want to travel to. There are so many destinations to visit around the world, from towns and cities within your own country to travelling abroad, both to urban and rural destinations. But where to go? This all depends upon what you enjoy doing when you're away, the reason for your trip and the places you want to visit, and of course your length of trip and overall budget. All of my trips away are currently visiting urban locations, so I have access to retail stores to purchase what I need. But you may decide to travel off-grid, perhaps wild camping, trekking or other sustained outdoor pursuits. But planning would naturally be very different for those. In this video, I'm primarily going to refer to my urban travels around Europe during the warmer months, how I pack, what I pack, and the other items that I take with me. I always travel light, frequently travel using budget airlines, trains, coaches, and local buses, so I don't need a lot of luggage to weigh me down. I travel light with a backpack, carrying everything that I need inside it. My backpack conforms to all budget airline regulations around size and weight, weighing around 7 kilos when fully packed. It's important when travelling anywhere to research where you're going. Flying on budget airlines is great for affordable travel, but budget airlines do tend to fly to smaller regional airports, which can sometimes be some distance outside their advertised city. Check how to get from the airport to the city and check where your arrival point is in relation to where you need to be within that city. Often a second form of transport might be needed in order to reach your final destination. If you're connecting through a different airport or railway station for your onward connection, then leave plenty of time, as budget airlines do run late at times. If you want to know more about travelling to and from airports, then this video on transport will answer all your questions. Picking the right accommodation is so important. Selecting the type of accommodation and location is the key to enjoying your chosen location, especially when travelling on a budget. Staying in the town or city centre may not be the best option, even if you actually need to be in the city centre each day. Commuting from the suburbs can often work out more cost effective comparing the cost of commuting against the higher city accommodation prices. Doing some research into the location may be beneficial to ensure you're staying in a safe area. If you want to know more about accommodation, then this video on accommodation will answer your questions. I've not travelled in winter yet, but I am planning some winter trips in the near future. The only aspects for winter travelling I would change would be my chosen footwear, so that I had proper outdoor footwear, the type of boots that hikers might wear, plus thicker socks. The style of tops I would to pack would be thicker and heavier, so I'd only pack 2 or 3 to save space. I would of course have a thick coat and probably a hat or a scarf, depending upon where I was going and what I would be doing. The other contents of my backpack therefore really wouldn't change. So what do I pack when I travel? Let's assume you're going away for 7 days, 1 week during the warmer months. What do you need to take? The easiest way to travel is to travel light, and that means using a backpack, which I have already mentioned, as this is the best travel option. You will need a good quality backpack, one which is small enough to conform to all budget airlines in the cabin baggage policy, and also big enough to hold all the items that you need to take with you without going over the airline's stipulated weight for carry-on baggage. Clothing is the biggest requirement when travelling, and they do take up the most room. I always work on 1 set of clothes per day, and this equates to 7 pairs of socks, 7 pairs of underwear, and 5 tops, 2 of which I wear twice. I wear the same trousers and footwear every day when I'm away, which also saves on space and weight. You can always purchase additional clothing whilst you're away should an item become damaged, throwing away any unusable clothing. I also need to take with me everything else that I may require, and these items include the basic toiletries that I need: flannel, toothbrush, toothpaste, and travel size soap, plus makeup, hairbrush, hair straighteners, first aid kit, and basic medication in case of sickness. Anything else that I might require, I purchase when I arrive, if I need them. This way I travel as light as possible, which makes using public transport or even walking longer distances much easier, without having to carry an additional small suitcase or a larger case. You often see me climbing up church towers and walking around the destinations I visit, and most times I have a backpack on my back. And yes, I climb the church towers with my backpack on. But what about travelling for longer or during the winter months? By altering my clothing for longer trips and still using a backpack, I can take enough clothing for a longer trip of up to 14 days away. This means taking 14 pairs of socks, 14 pairs of underwear, 8 tops, some which could either be worn twice or older tops thrown away and new tops purchased. These were the items that I carried on my recent trips to Bavaria, the Netherlands, and touring around Marseille and Provence. However, this all depends on where I'm travelling to and my itinerary for that trip. My advice is to start with a week-long trip and increase your time away, gradually achieving longer trips to find the length of trip which works best for you around your chosen itinerary. But what would I pack if I was travelling for longer? Let's say travelling for a month-long trip. Again, this would depend on my itinerary, where I was going and how I would be travelling. There isn't enough space in my hand baggage size backpack to carry everything for a month away. But there are 2 options to make things easier when travelling for a month or longer. Firstly, structure your month away so that halfway through you get all your used clothing laundered, either by staying in a hotel that offers this facility, perhaps in an Airbnb accommodation which has a washing machine available, or simply by visiting a public laundry, or laundromat as they're called, on the continent. And most towns and cities do have one. Secondly, pack for a 14-day trip, or whichever length of trip works best for you, and your travelling style. Pack older tops, socks and underwear and all items which need replacing and throw them away as they are used, purchasing new ones from market stores or discount retailers. This method means that you can travel for 28 days before having your first laundry day. For even longer trips of several months or longer, all these options can be repeated. All you need to do is structure your travel accordingly to make it work for you, factoring in those laundry days when needed. Or you could just stay smelly and have no friends. So probably better to plan ahead and enjoy a social life. There are numerous other items that I need to carry when travelling, and it's important to carry them, ensuring you plan ahead for every eventuality, or certainly for as many different situations as possible. I've already mentioned that I pack other items other than clothes, so let's look at a few of those other items which I've not mentioned that I always carry when travelling. I always carry an international driving licence, just in case I need to hire a car unexpectedly. Perhaps your flight is cancelled and you need to travel to another airport that is somewhere else in the country, and travelling by car is the most efficient way of travelling. Always check the driving licence requirements for other countries to see if you need an international driving licence, as some countries may not require one, and they will allow you to actually drive using your own country's licence. And in the European Union, a British licence is valid. Medication. If you take prescription medication, ensure you have enough for your trip, plus extra in case of travel delays. Make plans to get an additional supply from your doctor before you travel, or arrange if possible to collect additional supplies while you're away. However, there are different medications that I take which I want to mention here. Make sure you carry diarrhea medicine, just in case. Nothing worse than suffering a dose of the old jelly belly and not being able to do anything about it. Nothing worse than discovering the local chemist, pharmacist, is closed. After all, if you got them, you can use them. Nothing worse than missing out on that big sightseeing day out when you didn't even walk across the road, or risk using the hotel swimming pool in case you need the toilet in a hurry. And yes, I've seen someone suffer, let's be polite here, in a hotel pool. Don't be that person. The same can be said for carrying medication to help you loosen up if you're constipated. Ensure you take headache tablets, paracetamol, hay fever tablets, sticking plasters, cotton buds, insect bite cream, along with anything else you think you might need. Just a few for each, as extras can always be purchased whilst away. Insurances. The unexpected can happen especially when you're on a holiday and we least expect it. So make sure you have the right medical and travel insurance for peace of mind. In England, the NHS issues a global health insurance card, which means I can get medical treatment abroad. Plus, I have separate medical insurance. I have separate travel insurance just in case of travel delays. After all, if you've got it, you can use it. And if you haven't got it, it will give you an additional problem. Visas and passports. Do your research before you travel and make sure you have all the required travel documents for the country you are going to. Because of Brexit, it won't be too long before British citizens need ETIAS clearance to enter the European Union. ETIAS stands for the European Travel Information and Authorization System, and the new EES, or Entry-Exit System, which will take all biometric readings upon entering the Europe. This will also be a requirement, so allow extra time for entering and exiting your chosen European destination. The UK has already implemented the new ETA entry system, and I have a separate video all about EES, ETIAS and ETA on my channel to ensure you have the right requirements to ensure you are compliant. Visas. Check if you need a visa for the country you're travelling to. Perhaps you're transiting a certain country and may need a visa simply to transit that country. If you're transiting through the USA, then you will need an ESTA, an electronic system for travel authorization, attached to your passport. There are work visas, student visas and tourist visas depending on your length of stay. So check before you travel so that you have the right visa for your needs. And if a visa applies to you, sometimes it may not, depending on what passport you hold and where you're travelling to. Passports. Ensure your passport is valid and complies with all requirements of travel. Since Brexit, passport requirements have changed for British citizens visiting Europe, and many people have been denied boarding at the departure gate due to passport validity issues. Don't be the next person to miss their flight because you didn't check before travelling. Check your documents, and if your passport is getting close to its expiry date, replace it, even if it has a year to go. When travelling to the EU, passports must be valid for 10 years from the date of entry, and no longer. Passports issued more than 10 years ago will not be valid for travel within Europe, and you will be denied boarding. Inoculations. Some countries may require you to have certain inoculations or injections or jabs before you travel. Malaria, typhoid, tetanus are good examples, so check the requirements before you travel. If COVID or another virus should return, then make sure you have all the proofs of treatments and inoculations and certification with you, and carry an approved face covering. I travelled during the COVID-19 pandemic, and the preferred face covering in Europe was the KN95 or FFP2 style, and I still carry one today, just in case. A few other items I carry are a set of wooden or plastic cutlery, just in case I need to buy food, a carrier bag useful for supermarkets or for putting a wet umbrella in, a pen and a mobile phone. And I covered mobile phones in a previous video. Always travel in good time and aim to arrive at the airport at least 3 hours before your gate closes. For more information on travelling to the airports, please take a look at my transport video, which will help you travel better, avoiding the common mistakes people make when travelling to an airport. Travelling can be so rewarding, seeing different places, meeting new people, forging new friendships, eating amazing food, and there are many great experiences to be enjoyed as you travel, wherever you decide to travel to. Planning is the key to travelling, and all those that plan well also travel well. There is so much I could say about all of these subjects covered in these 5 videos, and each subject could easily be a separate video in its own right. If you want to know about my travel costs or how I afford to travel, then the links to those videos will come up at the end of this video, along with all my other videos in this series. If you have any questions about travelling, then please ask in the comments section below and I'll reply to you. Happy travels, and thank you for watching.